What was the biggest struggle you guys dealt with from a business standpoint, and then how'd you overcome that?
During, I think it was 2020, they said there were 5 million first-time gun purchasers alone that year.
I did. I sold a blind guy gun.
What's something you know now that you wish someone told you on day one?
Not to hire.
I wish somebody would have warned me that.
Justin, your grandfather Jerry walks in tomorrow. What is the first thing he says when he sees the shop?
Oh boy.
Welcome back to the Everyday Millionaire, where we interview ordinary people who took a bet on themselves and built something from nothing.
All right, yeah, and today's episode's really interesting because we're not only diving into a business that has stood the test of time, but it has also stayed within the same family for 3 generations.
Yes, and we're joined today by Justin and Bruce, who runs Federal Firearms Co., a family business that goes all the way back to the late 1950s. Justin and Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so starting at the beginning, it was your grandfather and Bruce, your father, who started this in 1958 as a small barrel manufacturing operation. So when did it evolve into the retail and wholesale shop that it is today?
Well, he actually bought the building in '66, and in '67 we opened up. July in '67 we opened up, and we actually were wholesale retail. We used to deliver to other gun shops throughout the Pittsburgh, Ohio area, West Virginia area. We did that for numerous amount of years. And then eventually we decided to just go strictly retail. And that's what we have done. And we did that probably in the early 80s. We went strictly all retail.
Got it. And you said, so what made your father get into this in the first place?
Well, he always loved to hunt and fish. And he was a foreman in a steel mill. And when it closed, at that time, they were actually making machine gun barrels for the military. And when it closed, he had the knowledge of making barrels. So that's when they put a building together and started manufacturing barrels, which we have all over the world.
I love it.
As Star barrels.
That's awesome. And so we were all talking about earlier too, it's wild. Most businesses don't make it past the first generation. So what do you think your grandfather and your father did differently that gave it its staying power?
They just hard work. You know, they just, they loved what we do. Mm-hmm. And that's what I told Justin. I said, it's not always about the money that you make. Mm-hmm. It's wanting to come to work.
Yeah, 100%. You know? That's actually kind of been a common theme in terms of like some of the recent people we've interviewed is, following your passion and doing something you love. Because if you can do something you love, work becomes play. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
Not when you can walk.
It's easier when you love it, yeah.
100%. When you can walk into work and you can actually enjoy what you're doing, you don't dread it. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah.
And, so it isn't always about the money. It's about enjoying what you do.
Which, in my opinion, it almost makes you work harder if you enjoy it.
I agree 100%.
Because I think for Riley and I, like when we were in college, for example, if there was a class we didn't like, it would be so difficult to study for that class and focus and pay attention.
Dread going.
Yes, 100%. But the classes we were actually genuinely interested in, we put a lot more effort in, thus
the grades reflected.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. The grades reflected. But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So when you stepped into the business, Justin, as a third generation, and then I guess Bruce for you for the second generation, did you feel pressure to maintain tradition, or were you more focused on evolving the business?
I'd say a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to keep tradition. I mean, we have this old school building, mm-hmm. right? Everybody's like, wow, why don't you remodel it? Why don't you make it more modern? And the people that have been coming here for 50 some years, right? So mm-hmm. they'd walk in and they enjoy the creaky floors. We get people who come in all the time and they look around. They're like, "What was this building before this?" And like, take a guess. And a lot of them are like, "Was it a schoolhouse or a post office, like a giant post office?" Yeah. And a lot of them get it right. And I think people actually like that. So
yeah,
you can make it. You see all these new gun shops pop up, and they got all these bright counters and lights everywhere, and it's just a little different feel here.
Oh, 100%.
But the market has shifted. So yeah, we still have a lot of our traditional stuff, hunting rifles, reloading components that the old school crowd is always into. But obviously there has been a whole lot more since that time. So still try to do a little bit of both with the space that we have. So,
yeah, absolutely. Going back off what Bruce said when you mentioned that you guys eventually went into full retail only, what were you guys initially selling, right? Because now you guys have all of this stuff, but what did it start out as? Were there like a specific gun that you started selling?
No, we were actually a distributor for Remington, Ithaca, Savage. We did warranty work for all those companies.
Oh, wow.
This building was just packed with product.
That's amazing.
Everywhere. We actually had a smaller retail store until we expanded when we got into the retail full time. But everything else was just nothing but storage for everything that we distributed. We had quite a few different lines. And like I said, we delivered 6 days a week.
Wow.
Or 5 days a week, actually, Tuesday through Saturday. So we were always on the road, and we were always taking, product to other gun stores that we got to be friends with a lot of them, So it was pretty neat.
I'm sure.
We enjoyed it.
And so it was interesting. Your father, I was reading, he bought out his partners, right, in 1974. So that's when they were the manufacturer. And then he was running it solo, right, for 16 years until you took over?
74, we sold the barrel factory.
Okay.
And then the partners all came together. There was the other 3 plus my father. There was 4. And then in 78, my father bought everybody out.
Got it.
And then we've had it since.
And then, what was, like Cody mentioned earlier, that transition like for you coming in as, that second generation taking it over?
I was fortunate because I grew up around it all my life and loved it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, never mind coming up these steps.
Yep.
I just enjoyed it. So it really wasn't much of a challenge. I had a good father that walked me through everything. So it worked out.
I love it.
Yeah, it worked out great.
So, guys, it was funny. Riley was mentioning to Justin before this, there's a funny saying that goes, the first builds it, the second stalls it, and the third kills it. Clearly, you have not done so, at least yet. But what?
Yeah.
He said that, I did.
Yes.
So make sure Brittany knows that.
I'll clarify.
So, Justin, what is something you have done that your grandfather would be like, what are you doing?
I mean, I've known that saying for forever, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's going to be like a stigma forever. Everybody's going to say it. People are going to ask and joke about it. But I think I'm doing pretty okay going forward. I don't
Seems like it.
Try not to give too much credit, but you ask him, we got way too much stuff. But things are definitely different and have shifted. But, I think if we told my grandfather, hey, one of our biggest selling segments right now is silencers, he'd be like, what are those? And why does anybody want to buy those? They're kind of silly, right? But, there's all kind of just new stuff that's been out. I mean, we sell body armor, there's all kind of different stuff that's a lot different than when, he was selling hunting rifles and all that other stuff. So I think that's probably, but change is okay, right? So
100%.
it's a little painful and a little tough, and we went through it too. I was like, hey, we should start selling this, XYZ, whatever. He goes, what's that? Like, what's that going to be? So, but, some things catch on. Obviously, it's always a gamble, but we I try to keep it with what the market wants. So
I will
Absolutely.
say he took it to another level.
Awesome. And it's,
when he got into the class 3,
yeah, all the NFA stuff.
which actually took it into another whole part of our business that he knows a lot more than I do. That's for sure.
It's
so I gotta
funny.
give
like you
credit
said,
on
you
that.
gotta love it, and I think that stuff's cool. And I took it and I ran with it. So
oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned both the Class 3 Act and the silencers, because we're getting into that a lot later. It's so interesting right now, but
it's wild right now. Yeah, there's a lot of things that have changed recently that have made it better, much better than the process before. So
absolutely. Well, and before we get into all that
Yeah,
stuff,
of
because
course.
those are so interesting, I guess take us through your journey though. You went to college and you said you were going to become an accountant at first. So this is very different path.
It's a
So
little
what made
different.
you decide to commit?
It applies to running a business somewhat,
Right.
nonetheless, so it wasn't a complete waste per se.
Yes.
But good life experience, yada yada. But yeah, I went to 4 years of college, saw the accountant way of life, and thought, man, I think something else might be a little interesting. And then I went to a trade show with him. I guess that was 2013 or no, 2011.
January 2011.
Yeah, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. And things were pretty busy at the time for him. The election cycle always changes, so it was busy. I went to the show, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is exciting. And it was like, all right, cool. Went back to school for that last year, and it's like, I don't know if this is an option or not, but I talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, whatever you want to do. So here I am.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Then growing up, it was never a big conversation because you do see some families,
Yeah.
it's kind of like pushed on you, right? The family business, but
Yeah, and it never was that at all. Like
Yeah.
hunting, shooting, none of that stuff was pushed on me at all. So I grew up with my mother in Crafton, so a little different area, and was there during the weeks and would be out this way in the summer. And then, I didn't really start shooting guns till 12, 13, something like that. I got
you were
my
actually-
hunter safety course, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is kind of fun, but I never took it seriously, never pushed it on me, none of that. And then that distributor show we talked about came about, and he was like, you want to go? I was like, yeah, what the heck?
So when he was
yeah.
12, him and his buddy Andy decided they wanted to hunt. And I'm like, well, you never really did any of this stuff,
It was
He
random.
went
Yeah.
shooting a couple times with me, but that was pretty much it. He was always more about sports and stuff. So he said, find us a hunter safety course. So actually, the day he got out of school that year, we found a course, and he went through it and passed and got his hunting license, and then started getting a little bit more into the guns and more into the shooting. And then once again, when we went to the trade show, he got to see all the real cool stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, got to play with some of that stuff. He's like, this might not be a bad living.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Seeing it all in one place was like overwhelming, right? And I was like, wow, this is cool. And like thought like, hey, wow, if this is all what it's about, let me take a whack at it. So,
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's so cool. Bruce, were you always involved in hunting?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you?
I pretty much grew up shooting with my dad. And we always hunted. We had a river camp, we called it, up in Venango.
Okay. Nice.
So, always grew up in the woods, and that's where we took our summer vacations. We're not spoiled like some people, getting to go all kind of places. That was our summer vacation was 2 weeks at our river camp and 2 weeks at my cousin's river camp, and then, of course, then come fall, we hunted and stuff up there. So
That's awesome. Did y'all have like 4-wheelers up there and stuff?
no, back then, no, you walked.
I walked. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
once again, we weren't the spoiled end of it again.
Fair. Yep.
We hiked up and down the mountains and stuff, and we had 4-wheel drive trucks, but that's about as close as
There you
we
go.
got.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Well, it's just so fun, like being out, you know what I mean, enjoying nature. That's kind of like why I fell in love with so much fishing, like fly fishing. That's what I did growing up, and even still to this day. I've never really gotten to hunting much, but just out of curiosity, going off the hunting, what's your record buck that you caught?
10 point, which is
10
up
point.
on the wall.
Oh, dang, that's sick.
we'll have to get that on camera in a few.
But if you look at it, it looks like a little 4 point.
Oh my gosh.
Because
got
the
10
mountain,
points.
the mountain deer racks are nowhere near like the racks that you see around here.
No, I'm sure.
It's just it's changed a lot.
That's incredible. Did you ever do any other type of hunting, like elk or anything like that?
No, I did boar hunting. There's a boar up there that
No way.
that I shot. That's over in the corner, and then I have Corsica ram on the other side. And a lot of these other mounts and stuff were customers of ours and
Oh
or
my gosh.
friends of mine.
That's really cool.
That they got. Like one guy has a moose on the other side, and he didn't realize when he had it, the taxidermy do it, how big it was going to be. And he's like, I ain't got no place to put this in my house.
Oh my gosh.
So he said, hey, you want to put it in your shop? And everybody loves coming, like a lot of the husbands and their wives come and they have the kids. So the kids go around, they love seeing the animals.
They love seeing
Oh,
the
I'm
moose.
sure.
So it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
cool.
it's super cool. I was actually just in Bass Pro Shops And it's insane, like all the displays that they have in there. So I probably spent myself just like 20 minutes just walking around looking at it, because it is really cool. And guys, stay tuned for our behind the scenes content after this, because it is like really cool what they all got around the shop here. It's really sick.
Do you do any duck hunting? Because I think I was telling you earlier, it's so hard. I've only tried the, clay pigeons where they were moving, and I got 3 out of 25. It takes a lot of work. So do you have experience with that as well?
Actually, that's what we got into after when we sold our river camp. We have a place in Conneaut Lake.
Oh, yeah.
So we got into waterfowl hunting. And that's actually what he did when he was 12.
Yeah.
And the lucky guy is one of the few that got a male and female hooded mergansers. Same time.
The same species.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
He shot one, and
it was cool.
I said to your right, he shot that one. I said to your left, he swung back around and he shot it. And it just so happened to be one male and one female hooded mergansers, which we don't have it down here. It's up at the house.
That's so
up at his
cool.
house.
But
it was cool.
He got into, the waterfowl, and that's what we actually did. He never really did deer hunting. He just mostly did waterfowl. That's what I got into.
That's impressive. Which one do you think is most difficult? Would it be the waterfowl?
Waterfowl is hard on you because it's always about miserable weather, and it's always about. I had a buddy of mine from that worked for Columbia Gas that had an inn with guys up in Erie, and they would call and they would tell them, hey, the ducks are moving down because they're migrating.
Right.
So we always had our bags packed, and he would call me, and I'd pick them up. We'd go to Conneaut and set up, and then we'd be ready to go because they're already coming. So that was kind of neat. But it was when it got cold or miserable snowy weather.
Brutally cold.
It's rough. I mean, your hands are in water.
Yeah, you're on the water.
You definitely have to dress
because
well.
the ducks love the cold, right? So that's the best time.
In the water, so you got to be around that. But at the end of the day, it's nice that you don't have to sit completely still in a tree, quiet.
Yeah.
Like you're like hunting deer, and that's just
right. Exactly.
I'd rather sit there, bullshit.
Agree.
Eat lunch and not have to worry about making a noise. So
we're deer hunting. You're by yourself. Where
sitting there by
we'd
yourself,
have a blind, and there'd be 4 or 5 of us in this blind.
Oh, it's much more
and
fun.
We'd carry on a conversation.
It was more enjoyable, I thought. So.
Yeah, as you can tell, we all love to talk, so I would not do well in the silence either. Deer hunting, no way.
No, 100%. So when you first came back, what was your first role, Justin, or did you immediately get into running things?
You coming into the business?
Yes, coming into the business. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I was in charge right out of the gate. I would say it was probably quite a few years where he was still active in it. And then, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years into it.
Yeah, it's probably about right.
Yeah, probably right before the COVID rush. I was pretty much running it, and he was going to do that practicing retirement thing.
Nice.
So, seeing how that went. But yeah, that was probably about 5-6 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how did that go between the two of y'all? Like, because I'm
peachy.
sure,
Oh, I was good because I was ready to go and move on and and hang out on the boats and do the wave runner and all that kind of stuff.
Very nice.
I was ready to move on.
He was ready to transition for sure. So whether it was going well or not, I think he was done. So
well, that's good to hear.
But learned a lot from it. So we figured it out, and I'm still keeping it going. So
that's awesome.
Well, when he got into the new stuff, I knew all the old stuff, and these guys they still get a kick out of it. They'll say, well, do we have one of these floating around? And I'll tell them where it's at, and they're like, how do you remember that stuff?
A lot of stuff.
I remember the old stuff, but he'll ask me, something about a silencer, and I'm like, you better go ask Justin.
Yeah.
I don't have any clue. I never really
answers the phone. Some answers are that easy, and some are, hold on.
Yeah, the easy answers are what time you open to. Everything else, when it gets into that stuff from him, and he has so much product here. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at it, and I grew up around all this.
Yeah, it is crazy how much things change. So you even mentioned, because we wanted to ask you about your a Class 3 dealer. You said that was also new, at least for when you had worked here before. So can you walk us through what does that mean?
Sure. So that encompasses NFA items, which the National Firearms Act that they passed in the early 30s. So it's silencers, short barrel rifles, machine guns, and AOWs, any other weapon. But it's all regulated differently than a traditional pistol, rifle, shotgun, whatever. So there's special licensing that we have to be able to sell them. And then there's a whole separate process that the customer has to go through to buy one. So prior, it used to all be done on paper forms. So this is a pretty big country with a lot of enthusiasts. So we were all, anytime somebody wanted to buy a silencer, they would have to fill out a paperwork. We'd have to mail it in with a $200 check for them to be able to buy it. And that's just archaic and totally cumbersome and outdated. And recently they developed a online system, thankfully, to make it easier. And they said it was going to make it faster. And in the beginning it didn't. So approvals prior to all that were taking anywhere from 9 to 12, 13 months.
Oh my gosh.
For just paperwork. That's all it is. They do the same background check that we do whenever they receive the application, and we can transfer a firearm the same day. So
Jeez.
For them to have to do that, it was starting to become a little ridiculous. So then Congress kind of got involved and made them say, hey, speed it up. You know, you're going to set all these regulations, make it feasible for the consumer. So that new system online has brought wait times down to as fast as a couple days.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And then it was there was a stigma, like when we first got into it, you know, we'd have a handful of them in the counter. People would be like, I didn't know we could own these. That was, 2015-ish. So we've come a long way in a short amount of time for people to get really into that part of the business. And after the first of this year, they actually removed that $200 fee that the tax stamp itself cost $200 to the consumer. So now they don't have to pay that. They call it a $0 tax now. Oh. You still have to go through all the same process and whatnot, but it's nice that you don't have to waste an additional $200 on that item. So, but the biggest thing was the wait times, and they have the wait times worked out pretty good. So it's taken off pretty good for us.
And so why did you want to become a Class 3 dealer? Like, I guess
thought it
what's
was
the...
cool.
Yeah.
I mean silencers, short little guns, it's all cool.
Right.
And
Well, that, and also, you know, a lot of people complain because it was noise pollution. You know, a lot of the gun clubs and stuff like that are in our area are starting to get,
population around it.
Thanks. You want to tell this story? Here we go. Now it's going to start.
Here we go.
Just helping.
Cut.
I can tell where you were going.
But anyway, so and a lot of people didn't realize. I mean, it is. You can shoot one of those and it's not blowing your eardrums out, and a lot of people didn't know you can hunt with them. And once again, that's another one. It's something more to quiet, you know.
Yeah.
So
Sitting in a quiet woods in a valley, shooting at a deer, not good on the ears. So it's a good tool to have.
When you guys came out with those, then did that attract a lot of new customers for you? Would you say?
It did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say especially like the younger crowd. per
Okay.
se. But also, with that removal of the $200 stamp on it, it's bringing everybody out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Old timers, doesn't matter. They're like, you know what? Now I want to take care of this. So
that's because Social Security, when they started figuring $200 was pretty rough.
yeah, on top of the price of the item itself.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's being thrown out. So it's a lot more
Yeah, it's
reasonable.
Help drive business for sure.
So it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And isn't it true Pennsylvania is one of the few states where you can actually hunt with the silencer, but most it's illegal to hunt with it, correct?
There's quite a few states where you're not allowed to hunt with a silencer. Yeah. I believe it has changed a lot over the last, 10 years. And I think we're up to 43 or 44 states where you're allowed to own silencers, but there's only a handful of them where you're not allowed to hunt with silencers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really sure why you wouldn't want to be able to hunt with a silencer, but states are states. They do
Right.
what they want, so.
So to go off that then, just for the people who don't know, and for some reason there's some people that have literally no clue what a silencer is.
Yeah.
And they think that it means like the gun's completely silent. So what is the actual reality of a silencer?
The reality is it's not Hollywood quiet.
Right.
We try to explain that to people. So, first off, just don't want to set an unrealistic expectation. Don't want to go invest in all this and then be disappointed at the end. But yeah, and that's what a lot of the politicians have argued, it was just like, yeah, it is movie quiet, and it's just not. It's nowhere near movie quiet. And there are some calibers that are significantly quieter than others when you shoot suppressed, but on your
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically takes the initial crack.
Correct. Yeah.
The actual part that actually is like ear piercing.
Yeah, that initial explosion out of the muzzle, because the projectile is still traveling above the speed of sound, so you're hearing that sonic crack of the bullet because it's going so fast, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
You can shoot. There's subsonic ammo and whatnot that will eliminate that sound, but at the muzzle they go by a stat that's called hearing safe, and OSHA set that at 140 decibels. But hearing safe isn't really hearing comfortable at the end of the day. Just because it's under 140 decibels doesn't mean you should be hanging out, shooting without ear protection and all that other stuff.
I was going to say, isn't it 130? I thought I was reading. So you're right there.
It could be, but
still probably want protection.
The 140 is that threshold, and if you've ever heard of a gun that meters at 138, 139 decibels, like it's still loud. So, but yeah, it's a worthwhile investment nonetheless.
Nice.
Interesting Hollywood myth for sure.
Yeah, that Hollywood myth needs debunked big time because it's not that quiet. Like your neighbor, everybody's like, oh, your neighbor's not going to know. Like if you shot in your yard, your neighbor's going to know you're shooting.
Totally. Yeah, 100%.
It's not like that. So.
And so you said that is a much more rigorous process, though, when someone does want to buy a silencer. So that was, would you say the background check is 6 to 12 months it could be, or?
It used to be prior to this implementation of this it's called the e-forms system. Yeah, so you mail your application off and you wouldn't hear a peep out of the ATF for that long, and like, oh, I hope they got it, kind of thing. But now it's pretty quick. I mean, we've had them in as fast as a couple days.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
That is incredible. So walk us through what actually happens when someone buys a gun. So a lot of people have no idea what the process looks like. So like in terms of the background check, paperwork, waiting period, what does that actually look like from your side?
So you walk the person through whatever gun fits their needs. Once they make the decision, there's paperwork that needs filled out. It's an ATF 4473. So they fill that out. Once that's all taken care of, we go to the state police in Pennsylvania does all the background checks. So we submit all the purchaser's information into the system, hit submit, and system runs. Sometimes it comes back immediately. But sometimes it could go to a pending status, which only takes a couple minutes, just depends on how busy they are that day.
Dang.
Yeah, so everything it's called an instant background check. So if you're approved, out the door with it that day. Yeah, yeah. Pretty simple, straightforward. It's not very intimidating at all. So
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, because over the years, has it become a more seamless process, would you say?
Our state, since I got into it, has been the exact same.
Okay.
So I can't speak for other states.
Sure.
Some other states have waiting periods and all sorts of other regulations, but our state has been like this since I've been doing it, and it's been pretty simple.
Yeah, it's come a long way, because originally you used to fill out an application. It was like a 4-page application duplicate, and we would send one to the state police, we'd send one to the sheriff's office. And a week later, if we didn't hear anything back from them, then we put the record of sale. And so they actually had a week waiting period back then for handguns.
Wow.
Long guns, long guns you were able to take with you. Really never had a background check. So some say it's better now because all of them have, any firearm or silencer has a background check.
That's interesting too.
Yeah.
So you said nowadays, since it is faster and you'll get a decision right in front of the customer, have either of you ever experienced a decline where you have to tell a customer, no, you're not approved, you could be standing across from a felon, and they might have thought they would sneak through?
Yeah, it happens. Not too often. Fortunately, we're not like, we're just off the beaten path here, so it's not just like, oh, there's a gun store, I'm gonna go try buy a gun. So, but yeah, no, denials do happen. And it can be awkward, to say the least. People are, I don't know what it could be. You probably know. It happened 30, 40 years ago. Certain things don't go away. So we see that. We've had, if you have a warrant out for your arrest, the local police department will show up and arrest them. And that has happened a few times, and that is more than awkward.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
crazy.
then they look at us as like rats, like, oh, you ratted me out, but it's like, well, you came to me.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It's not your guys' fault.
Yeah, that's awkward. Fortunately, nothing like too major. I mean, but it could be something as insignificant as unpaid fines, like parking tickets, child support. Like it could be a lot of stuff that's not violent per se, but still, yeah, it could be an awkward situation.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because
Some people think it goes away. You know, whatever the parking tickets that they have in their glove box and stuff like that, they totally forgot about.
it actually just happened last week.
Oh my
No
god.
And it
way.
was she's been nickel and dime in her parking ticket because she got so far behind, and I guess they were significant. Like it added up to a lot of money. So yes, the state would not let her buy a firearm.
It's something you think that wouldn't impact, you know, your right to buy one, but it just don't kill the messenger, to your point.
Well, that's it. Yeah, because then they don't tell us. It's just pass, don't pass. So like all we can do is say, well, you have to send this challenge. It's called a challenge form into the state, and they will tell you what happened.
Interesting.
Yeah. But of course, naturally, in her situation, after she got denied, she realized magically why she got denied.
Yep, there you go.
So it's kind of, I don't know, sticky situation can be sometimes.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Just real quick before we go forward, like the guns and your guys' particular line of business, just more of like a general question. And Bruce, you can chime in here too. What was the hardest time that you guys have come across? Like, what was the biggest struggle you guys dealt with from a business standpoint, and then how'd you overcome that?
You go first.
I don't know if I won't really say product at one time because it got so busy. And American public, if you tell them they can't have it, they want it. So some don't even know why. I always say, if a horse farmer, if they outlawed horse poop, every horse farmer in this United States would be rich because
For sure.
American public's got to have a bag.
Yep.
They don't know why, but they're going to put it someplace, but they got to have a bag.
Right.
It's true.
So I would just say that was probably the hardest part, is when it got really, really busy. You know, just manufacturers couldn't keep up and distributors couldn't. And I mean, our shelf room was bare, and it was just, I mean, they were buying whatever they could get their hands on. So that would probably be the hardest thing. I mean, outside of that, I really can't say there was anything else that I could think of, unless you got something.
No, yeah, that was it. I mean, it was almost too busy, which is like hard to believe.
Right. Never a bad thing.
Yeah, but when you're going for that's probably a year and a half of like, hey, can you order me this? No, like it's just the product's not there if it's not on the shelf, and it's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
I
for
guess,
sure.
to a certain point, but then naturally the pendulum swings and the brakes, you know, got slammed after that, and everybody caught up at the same time, but everybody still had the thought process of like, oh, we got to buy everything in sight, and you know, got put on our heels for a little bit, and then eventually it swings back. But I would say that oddly enough, the busiest time might have been the most challenging.
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
sure.
find stuff,
Yeah.
source it, and whatever. And
Oh yeah, because when COVID hit, a lot of businesses were shut down. But because the way the law states, if you can hunt or fish and provide yourself food, you were allowed to stay open.
we were deemed essential.
So we
At
were
the
allowed
time,
to stay
yeah.
up. We were only closed for a couple days, but it got so crazy. I'd be out in the parking lot asking people, you know, what are you looking for? Go ahead, go. We don't have it. We just would, because we didn't want to let too many people in the store at one time, because it was still, you know, they weren't sure about the virus and all that kind of stuff. So we were trying to abide by, you know, keeping the public down to a certain point. So I literally stood out in the parking lot. Do you ever see the Sonic commercial? And all the cars come flying in?
Yes.
At times, and I have it on my phone, times that's what our parking lot would look like. And I was out there and I'm like, you guys have got to go or they're going to eventually shut us down.
That's crazy.
And so I literally stood out there in the rain and tell them, you got to go, you got to go.
So COVID almost had like the opposite effect on you guys.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
it was,
crazy.
It was good. Sold everything we had, but then just like the logistics of it was, I mean, for everybody, right? It was a nightmare.
Chaotic.
So, yeah, it was tough.
I mean, we were talking about that earlier during, I think it was 2020. They said there were 5 million first-time gun purchasers alone that year.
Oh yeah, the type of people that were coming in were very green, right? There's just like, you could tell they've never been around firearms, but
Oh boy.
you know, when guard your toilet paper and everything else was
That
coming
was-
about, it was bringing everybody out that, you know, also kind of, you know, caused the resurgence in like, hey, the Second Amendment means something, you know,
Yep.
even to people that like didn't care about it or voted against it or whatever. It changed a lot of people's thought process.
But one thing about, for us especially, we weren't just selling it to sell it. You know, if they weren't sure, we're like, you know,
Yeah.
I think you better come back or go to the range, shoot some guns, get used to it, and then come back and see us. We just didn't want to sell a gun
Yeah.
to have somebody go out.
Somebody comes
Not
in
knowing.
all jittery. Is
Yeah.
get some formal training and advice before
Education
you just,
on it,
before
yeah.
you just put one in the dresser drawer for no reason.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I got one where I sold a blind guy a gun.
Nuh-uh.
How did that work?
He was literally blind. But he said, because I'm like, well, how do you do it? He said, I know if anybody comes into my house, they know to let me know if they were coming. If not, they're not supposed to be there. And I did. I sold a blind guy a gun.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy.
That's
That's
crazy.
absolutely wild.
We sold another blind individual a firearm not that long ago too, but they were more legally blind than actually blind.
Okay.
But you could tell just on the paperwork, I was like, you can see? He's like, enough to where I can defend myself. I said, okay, good
Oh,
enough.
goodness.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. Like,
No.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, how does that even work? Like,
I don't know.
They're just
I say all your other senses are heightened, right? So
Yeah,
I
okay,
guess
all
I
right.
get it. Yeah.
fair enough.
That's
Yeah,
what he
well,
said. He
yeah.
said, somebody comes through my door, I know they're not supposed to be there. I can hear where they're coming from. And
Hey,
he said, just start shooting.
Yeah.
at least they can defend themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
has
mean,
the
my
right to.
God.
Still
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Well, and then I guess getting back to, we were talking about online. And so for you guys, every single online purchase I was reading has to go through a licensed gun dealership, correct? So
Correct. For firearms, yeah.
for firearms. So how has that helped you guys? Just like with the game with online and silencers, I guess, too, right? You said they're
Yeah.
changing regulation for that. So
Yeah. So, online's been pretty helpful, especially in the slower months. We do pretty well on there with used firearms, unique, off the wall kind of stuff. Where used gun, you don't know what's going to be in the used counter at any given local shop. So if you can't find it in your local store, you got to go online. New guns, it's a tough market. Margins are tight on new guns in general. So when you go online and you pay the marketplace fees and all that other stuff. But, if you come across something that's difficult to find in most people's local shops, where do you go first to look for it? On the internet. So it has been helpful. But as far as the process, regulations, everything does have to be sent to, a licensed dealer in their state. And then that dealer will perform the actual transfer. So it's cumbersome, but it's worth it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, all right, and then shift of gear for questions here. I guess either one of you could answer this, but what's something you know now that you wish someone told you on day one?
Not to hire him. Sorry, I had
The
to
most
throw that
family
in.
answer ever.
Not that bad. Not that bad. I wish somebody would have warned me that the people in retail can be characters, to say the least. Dealing with the public is not for everybody, and it's tough. And I get it. Not everybody is, as knowledgeable as, others, but it's goofy, the questions that we get sometimes. And I wonder why they call us. And not all. I have to assume that you're talking to other people that work in the firearms retail industry. You're like, yeah, we get those calls too, and I'm like, are you serious? So it's funny, that and the fact that everybody has to call and ask me what time we're open till. And he dealt with the same stuff. We have employees that know the basics of the business for a reason, and I still have to field those phone calls for no reason.
Oh gosh.
Wouldn't have expected that either. No.
Yeah, it's wild, and I get it. When you call a business, you want to talk to the guy that owns it or runs it. You're like, yeah, but if I know they can answer a simple question, I would let somebody else answer that question.
Oh yeah.
How many
100%.
friends do I have? Old friends that I got.
Oh yeah, he's got friends coming out of the woodwork. Well, not so much anymore, but like when when I was really starting running, like, oh, I know Bruce. I've known him my whole life, and I bought all my guns off Bruce. And okay, so I typed their name in the register. I've never seen them, you know, and I even still deal with this, and I've been here, I don't know, I guess 12 years, 14 years, something like that. And then people still come in, and I'm like, well, we've had this register for 10, 11 years, so I type their name in, nothing.
Oh boy.
And they always want a deal and this and that. So that was hard to deal with for a while too.
I was gonna say, just in terms of like the people skills you kind of have to have in retail.
Big time. Yeah, you can't be a wet towel. You got to be able to fight back too. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun.
Because to your point, like everybody comes in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Anybody, everybody. Yeah. So, but it's at the end of the day, you know, you don't know who you're dealing with. Everybody.
Yep.
You got to treat everybody
The
like
same.
that. Yeah. Like, exactly. And we do, and that helps for sure. But it can be tough.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
But
sure.
we make it work.
That's
yeah, because
awesome.
they'll say, oh, he's just a tire kicker. He's just a tire kicker. Next thing you know, he turns around, he buys a gun.
Yeah. An expensive gun. Yeah, you got to treat them all like they
Yeah, you gotta,
Yep.
you gotta,
wallet in
you
your
know,
pocket. Yeah.
feel that
never
he's
know.
gonna buy
Yeah.
something. So,
Absolutely.
100%.
Good
All right, cool. So our last little segment we have for you guys is a lightning round, okay? And so this can be for both of you. But I guess we'll start with Justin. So Glock or 1911?
Oh man, that is like the argument that will go till the end of time. I know his answer, obviously.
that
Yeah.
You can both answer.
Personally, Glocks don't fit me, but like if it came to the practicality between the two, I think Glock would make that
Glock?
easily. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
1911.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's like getting
We are
hit
the
with-
faces
That's
that-
like getting hit
yeah.
with a bowling ball.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. All right, next one. Someone walks in, they've never owned a gun before. What are you pointing them towards? Their first purchase.
Oh, come back to Glock.
Well, I mean, a lot of them, because they know the municipalities go to the Glocks, so they've heard of that name. So that's the first thing. But the biggest thing is, and I tell everybody, and this is something I think I taught him, I'll see somebody will pick up, they'll want the most expensive gun here. And they'll pick up the gun and they're holding it out like this and it's facing down to the ground. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But it just doesn't fit them.
Right.
I mean, you want that gun to be like an extension to your finger. So when you throw it up, you're looking right down there. You close your eyes, you turn your head, you can see it. Mm-hmm. It's not pointing down here. It's not pointing to the right, left. So I really don't care what it costs. You want something that fits you and you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Fit is most important. You know, it can be as gaudy as you were hoping, but if it doesn't fit you, move on to something different.
Interesting. So next one for you is, what is the most overrated gun that everyone thinks is cool, but you're kind of just like over it?
Should I say Glock?
Yes.
I'll say staccato personally. I think,
okay.
I think so. It's in a segment, the 2011 pistol segment, which has gotten more broad over the past few years. But they were like the first to like really mass market that gun, and it went well. But it's just beat on at this
Interesting.
point.
Bruce, what about
No
you?
comment on that one.
All right.
You know,
Might
he
have been out of
basically
it for
nailed
long.
it.
Cool.
Enough, yeah.
He got that one.
There you go. Agreed on something. All right. Weirdest thing a customer has ever asked you.
You know, it's not necessarily asked me, but I will say that this happened somewhat recent. As this customer who I did not recognize came in, and I was in the hallway, and I could hear him, "Where's Justin? Where's Justin?" Blah blah blah. And I come out into the hallway, and he goes, "Wow, you got fat." So that really put me for a record. I mean, I'm not. So
Pretty in shape guy.
I'm not in shape either, but I'm also not fat. It really kind of caught me off guard.
Oh,
That's
geez.
fair.
Yeah.
That would ruin my day personally. So.
Yeah, it ruined my day, but I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and why'd you come in here and tell my employee I look fat? I was like,
the heck, man?
Even he started just dying laughing. I'm like, I don't know what to say. So, yeah, not that he's asked per se, but yeah, that was the goofiest thing I've heard
Interesting.
lately.
Bruce?
I don't know if I really have anything, to be honest with
Fair.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people that come in and they do ask some stupid questions. But, you know, you can never think of them right now. But I had one guy that come in, and these are night sights, and the actual company, Triticon, is the one that owns the valves. So it doesn't matter whether it's Meprolite or 5 other different companies that have night sights. Triticon actually has the valve that they use, no matter what the sight's made from or who makes the sight. So I had a guy argue with me saying that this is brighter and the one that he wanted. And I said, sir, I showed him. And he says to me, he said, you know, the customer's always right. I leaned on the counter and I says, not in my place, they're not.
Oh, boy.
Right's right and wrong's wrong. And I'm proving to you that Triticon owns the valves that
Yeah.
makes it glow.
Uh-huh.
So, man, he became a good customer after that.
Well, there you go. That's good.
Worked out.
It all
So if
worked
he
out,
sees this, he'll remember it.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll leave a comment.
Maybe.
All right. Again, this can be for both of you. Revolver or semi-auto guy?
I think revolvers are still cool and iconic, but as far as practical use is concerned, I think semi's the way to go.
Semi, yeah.
I think if you practice, semi's good. But if you're not, and it's going to be something that you sit in a nightstand, revolver, I say, because if you pull the trigger and it doesn't go bang, you just pull the trigger again. On a semi, you have to clear it and put another one in and start shooting. So it kind of depends on your situation. If you're going to practice, semi's way to go. You got more rounds,
Yeah.
and some
Alright.
people need them.
True.
Both still relevant depending on your needs.
Nice.
Love it. All right, this one's interesting, but if you had to survive an apocalypse, what are you grabbing?
As much as I can, I guess, right?
Had to pick one.
Had to pick one. I mean, I guess an AR-15 would
I would
probably
say
be,
the same.
yeah, if you had to pick one, and
Some
hopefully
that
you
holds
can,
multiple
yeah, and
rounds.
hopefully you can still carry a pistol on your hip, yeah, because that would be useful too. So
True.
Yeah.
yeah, so I would start with that.
Well, the nice thing with the rifle is you could shoot long distance with accuracy, and it's still good for up close. So
yeah.
Good
All right,
point.
they're on a roll.
I know. I
On
love
the
it.
same page so far here. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure by the time they edit it, it won't be.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. All right. Best hunting gun.
Shotgun or rifle, or I mean, it all depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends what you're hunting.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, any rifle will do. It just depends on what you're hunting, what caliber you really
Yeah.
need, per se. You know, there's plenty of people that won't hunt a white-tailed deer with anything less than a 300 Win Mag for no reason other than they don't want to chase it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary at the end of the day. But anything will do an option. Shot placement counts. So it doesn't matter what caliber it is, per se.
Nice.
All right. We have last 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned these a lot earlier, but a silencer, practical tool or just fun at the range?
Very practical.
Think
Yeah,
practical?
it mitigates recoil. It's way more comfortable on your ears. Certain platforms you can argue that it's not practical, but I don't know. There's a reason why every manufacturer recently has shifted to threaded barrels only on their guns. So
Yeah, because
something to be said.
they see what's coming.
Yeah, they see
So,
the market, and yeah, it could be a business decision more than anything, but it's a very useful tool.
Got it. All right, we'll see if we can end on an agreement too. So that was a good roll.
That was. All right. And again, this can be for both of you, but Justin, your grandfather, Jerry, walks in tomorrow. What is the
Yeah.
first thing he says when he sees a shot?
Oh boy.
oh, I know.
Yeah, you probably know. Probably how much does all this cost? If I had to take a guess.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
my turn?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Why isn't this cleaned?
Oh my God.
Why isn't that put away? You know, so like I
That sounds oddly familiar.
Well, like I said, I was telling her when we first started this, I become my father,
Like father, like son.
and
Yeah.
I told her the story.
It took you a
about,
few years to realize
I,
that.
yeah,
but
well, and I told her the story about how Pup walked through the door and said something, and I said, "Can't you say something nice?" And I said, "If you can't say something nice,
Get out."
leave."
Yeah.
And he did. He went down the steps, got in his car, and went and had lunch.
Oh my gosh.
So, but
There
the
you have it.
difference is he doesn't always tell me to leave
Well, I
until he
do.
has enough of me,
It
or the
doesn't work.
employees will say, "I think it's time for your dad to go."
Yeah.
Because I'm making
Yeah.
him do something.
Oh, exactly.
We'll have to see down the road what happens when little Dalton,
Yeah,
Justin's son,
we'll be the same.
takes over the same way.
We'll probably be the same way.
I love
So.
it. All right, everyone. Well, that's Federal Firearms in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. Like we said, 3 generations, still going strong. We have a 4th one coming.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Guys, before we let you go, though, what is the best way for people to find you? Where's your shop located, and what's the best way they can reach out?
We're on Tom's Run Road in Oakdale. It's right outside of Bridgeville is the best way to describe it. So
Right on the Orange Belt.
Excellent.
if people still know
If
what that
they
is, yeah, if they still follow that.
Or you know what? Everybody got a smartphone.
Yeah.
Right,
true.
that is very true.
Put our
Yeah.
address in
Put
5035
the-
Tom's Run Road.
There you go, guys. Well, please make sure to come check out Federal Firearms. Bruce, thank you so much. Thank you,
fun.
Justin. Really
Thank you guys
appreciate
so
you.
Of course.
Guys,
Appreciate it, yeah.
thank you so much for listening, watching, and viewing. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.